When you stop, take time to think, to contemplate, to meditate upon the goodness of God, isn't it amazing that we can experience such an intimate relationship with the God of the universe, that he bids us to come to him and fellowship with him and he with us. I'm just amazed by that. I am amazed at the simplicity of the message of the cross, and yet the difficulty that men have with that. And in our reading today in Deuteronomy 30 and 31, Psalm 40, and especially in 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verses 23, 4, and 5, does Paul address this whole issue. Let me just read these verses and then we'll talk a little bit about them. But we preach Christ crucified, to the Jews a stumbling block, and to the Greeks foolishness. But to those who are called, both Jews and Greeks, Christ, the power of God and the wisdom of God. Because the foolishness of God is wiser than men, and the weakness of God is stronger than men. As though God could be weak or foolish, which neither of which he is. He is wise and strong. But the preaching of the cross was foolishness to the Jew because he couldn't conceive of the Christ being crucified. His whole idea of the Christ was, the Messiah was that he was going to come to rule and to reign, and they couldn't conceive of this. They didn't understand all of the passages in the Old Testament that spoke to this issue. He had the law, and to keep the law was the goal of his life. Everything he did was an effort to keep the law and thus proclaim himself to be righteous. To the Greek, wisdom and strength, they were supreme, especially wisdom. They sought for it, they consorted, they contemplated with one another to find the greatest wisdom that was available to men. They couldn't conceive of something so simple as putting one's faith in the finished work of Jesus Christ on the cross to redeem them from the fires of hell. That whole concept was foolishness to them. Yet, in all of this, God confounded both the Jew and the Greek by making a way to know him through faith in the finished work of Christ on the cross. It's truly amazing. God is wiser, and certainly God is stronger. He is all-knowing, he is all-powerful, and men are brought low by the greatness of his name. Truly amazing, the wisdom and the power of God. So amazing that something so simple could be so strong, so powerful, and so profound. How wonderful is love like this. That's the love of God for each and every one of us. And I'm so thankful for that. And it's hard for men to put their wisdom, their works aside, and put their faith in what Jesus has done, to submit themselves to God, to humble themselves before God and say, I can't do it, to admit their need, to admit that they are sinners, lost and undone. As Paul says in Romans 3, all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. We want to earn something. We think that we should pay something. But the beauty and the wonder, the glory of the cross is that Jesus paid it all. Paid our fine, paid our debt, so that we could go free. How wonderful, the old hymn says, is love like this. I pray that's a blessing to you today, and you glory in the cross of Christ, and that you realize the debt that has been paid by his death on the cross, and rejoice in that. Amen. May the Lord richly bless you today.